for SK Telecom to take. Now, if you're CJ, do you start thinking about banning Elise or Rek'Sai and then first picking the other one and seeing what exactly Bengi's going to play?
It's a good question. And I mean, also from the side of SKT, do you worry about banning out the Azir so BDD can't get his hands on it?
Yeah, definitely a good question. Will be the Echo banned second here, so they may be narrowing down on a first pick Maokai, it would appear, if they're going to take away some of these strong top laners and start to pinch the top lane pool. Kindred, no surprise, will be banned next. So CJ has to decide now whether they're going to ban the Rek'Sai or the Elise and first pick one, or if they're just going to leave that open for Bengi. I don't think Bengi was the main reason why SK Telecom won that last game, especially with some of his wacky pathing that we saw early.
Yeah, I don't.
CJ is going to ban Varus. That is very interesting because Faker has never been a big Varus player.
I mean, it is a very powerful pick at the moment, but like you said, it's not something that we see him play a whole lot of, especially with this new mage patch that has come out. There's so many other options for Faker to go to, so that the ban on the Varus just a bit of an intriguing one. Last ban, though, from SKT, they're going to keep it consistent with this. They're still going to ban Thresh.
Yeah. Zed is up, but this probably just means that SKT is confident in last picking a mid laner, and it will be the Rise available and picked by CJ in this game. Now, whether that's going to BDD or Antara, we don't know. We've been seeing an increasingly large number of Rise top laners here in Korea.
But yet again, the Azir and the Rek'Sai are there for SK Telecom, so they're going to get two of their picks from that last game yet again as they come into this. And we saw Faker make that insane play in the mid lane underneath the inhibitor tower. So going to be looking for a repeat performance with this champion before it gets absolutely bodied into oblivion by patch 6.11.
Yeah, and if they do send this Rise into the mid lane, they may have a few issues against the Azir in the early stages, as Azir with that range advantage can be pretty brutal in the early game. Now, Haru could go for Elise in here. Maybe not going to take the Elise this game like he did last time. Still, though, this would require him to put on pressure early, and that's not been something that he's been comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Could be the Gragas.
Not one that we've seen for quite some time.
The Gragas would fit better with the Rise, just because you can isolate a target for the Rise to Rune Prison.
Yeah, knock him in and then lock him down.
You can do the same thing with a kick there, of course, from Lee Sin, but that requires a lot harder setup, generally speaking. So Gragas and Soraka setting up the sustain. They're also taking the Soraka away because they don't want it picked into the Rise, where Soraka can just silence him when he tries to engage. Yeah. So it is a bit of a denial pick there from CJ Entus. But the Maokai, very good against the Rise, able to lock him down and keep him CC'd, especially if he has a Dazzle on top of him with that Taric. But nope, we're just trolling Dongjun and Cloud Templar right now. Bang only used to troll Cloud Templar every time he was in the draft, and now he has added Taric to that list to troll Dongjun as well, one of our Korean casters who looks like Taric.
They could add Taric to this list. They're going to be last picking for their support. We've seen how strong Taric can be in some of these compositions. Achani, of course, bringing it out famously, the first one here in Korea, and played it to a T. Pun not intended, actually, now that I think about it, but Twitch is going to get locked in
The Shen is a very real pick here if they pick Twitch, because you are going to be able to make those. Yeah, you're going to be able to make those invisible Shen plays.
That's going to be it.
And that is going to be it. So this is going to be the first Shen that we've actually seen since the rework in Korea. Very surprising. Bard will be the pick right here. So CJ Entus going for a pick composition. They want to get Kramer out on the map with that ambush, port the Shen to him, and catch people unaware, especially since they also have double TP. They're going to be able to collapse on members of SK Telecom. SKT has an excellent 5v5 team fighting composition, though, so if they are unable, CJ, to set up these plays, then they're going to have quite a hard time. Both Rise and Twitch are very vulnerable to Maokai because they don't have any kind of movement abilities, really.
Yeah.
So if Kramer misuses ambush, he could be easily focused down by the members of SKT.
So with this Twitch Soraka comp coming in from CJ, do we expect them to go for a lane swap, or do you think they want to go for the 2v2?
I actually don't think it particularly matters in this case. We'll see what they end up doing. I think you can handle it. Obviously, Ezreal Bard is a little bit more poke pressure in the early game compared to the Twitch Soraka. Twitch not the best early game AD carry though, really starts shining in 1 to 2 items once the Bork, Blade of the Ruined King, and the Hurricane come out. But this is going to be definitely interesting. This composition from CJ is so execution heavy. They really have to be able to pull off these picks, because if the wards are there, the pink wards are there for SKT, and they're able to back out of these dangerous teleports or you know, ambush situations with the Twitch, then they're going to be able to group as 5 around objectives, and CJ's going to have a really hard time fighting that.
Yeah, you also have very elusive members on the side of SKT that can dodge that Shen taunt. We'll see if CJ can pull it off, however, as we get into game 2. All right, here we go, onto the Rift. For game 2 here, SKT looking to close out with a 2-0.
So, coming in, the new Shen. Still pretty poor wave clear on that Shen overall, so we may see Duke applying some pressure early if we do end up with the standard lanes. And see what is going to happen here in the early stages of this game. Bang, throwing a ward in the brush. Kramer there going back, isn't going to be able to kill it.
Faker's waiting in the Dragon Pit at the moment, not going to be able to find a way in.
Yeah, they can't win these trades early.
Yeah, they're just going to find a good amount of damage here on a Bad Life, and Kramer chunking him down. Bang takes a little bit, but he'll be pretty well off for the time being. I believe it's an Ocean Drake to start. Didn't quite get my eyes on it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I was watching the action
the
down
scuffle.
On the scuffle, the kerfuffle, if you will. There's Bang and Kramer on your screen right now. And we are going to see this start here. Looks like nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of Keystone Masteries, pretty standard stuff.
Yep, Grom for SKT, and the Krugs for CJ's bot lane, so should have similar level 2 timings as well. But we're going to see this Shen versus Maokai matchup.
Yeah, so CJ struggling a bit in the early phase here.
Both have ways to interrupt those teleports up to the top side, so they do have to be careful about where they're trying to channel those so they don't get interrupted.
Doran shield first, actually, for Tara here. Just looking for that extra little bit of sustain in the early parts of this game. You can see really a whole lot he's going to be able to do to stop Maokai from Arcane smashing these waves in early. And CJ has to be careful that they don't lose a lot of their towers, because the further they have to extend, the harder it is for their pick comp to operate properly, but they have some pretty rough lanes to deal with when it comes to the first few minutes before that first chop.
Yeah.
Tara's going to have to get... The problem with this matchup, I feel, for Shen, is that Shen really needs the Sunfire Cape to be able to wave clear effectively against the Maokai. But Maokai is going to have to build a cowl first, which is really going to delay his ability to keep SK Telecom from pushing down his turrets. Might be a bit of an issue.
Speaking of issues, Haro finding himself with a couple issues in the way of Bengi and Wolf as they go in, harassing the red buff. The Smite, of course, not available for the Rek'Sai, though. And Duke actually getting a good amount of damage here from Intara on this Shen. Yeah, still up in CS though.
Those empowered auto attacks are good against single targets.
Yeah, you can see that right there as he's just shredding through Duke's HP, knocks away with the Arcane Smash. Intara does not want to pursue with that flash. We get locked up by the Twisted Advance, so just gonna go ahead and win that trade and let Duke back and force him to use that teleport.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Shen can be a good duelist in the early game, considering he does get those extra damage on his autos.
Yep.
And he is going to force that TP, so Duke actually going for a second Doran's Ring here, just for some increased trading power. And that's what's going to have to be, but Utara has to be careful about where he trades, taking shots from these caster minions in the wave. Can be a bit rough. And he also has to body block the minion wave from actually make sure he picks up the CS. A little bit delayed there on the blue buff, obviously. Bengi did try to go red to steal, but Haru was able to pick it up. So no real early advantage here for either team.
Faker, slight minion lead, but he's going to be pushing a big wave into the VDD under the tower. So as long as he can pick that up, he'll actually be toe-to-toe with him so far. But we can see Faker actually chipping away at him in the mid-side using those soldiers at max range, and that'll actually start denying him some CS. This could give a little bit more of a concise lead over to Faker now. So looking good, keeping up the pressure there with this Azir. We'll see what kind of build he wants to go for this time. We did see the Seeker's arm guard last game as he was going up against the Varus. This time he's just going to go straight for the Stinger and get a double door in this ring. The double dagger and door to start. So it'll be a lot of harass coming down as he re-enters this lane. And then, of course, the TP there used by BDD as well. So just Untara having his, but going on to the first back, so we should have no teleports for anybody in the game in just a second here.
This is just such a good situation for Bengi. He can invade almost at will, considering all of his lanes are pushing forward. At the moment, it does give him just a ton of leeway to get into the enemy jungle, get those deep wards in, really start to mess with the likes of CJ Entus, and he's back to his Chilling Smite, and what I would assume will be yet another Sightstone first build. And why not? He can get so much information when all of his lanes are going to be applying pressure.
Yeah.
It certainly seems like a valuable strategy. And he needs to get those deep wards in, because as soon as Twitch starts picking up items, you have to have deep wards, particularly deep in the lane, you know, in between tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, so that you can see Twitch before he uses the ambush and you know generally where he is on the map.
Yeah. Even Ezreal, with all of his kind of ability and that arcane shift, can get blown up very quickly by a Twitch. Gets that jump on you, so.
Tara is going to hit level 6 first right here. Stand United now available. So they have to be a little bit cautious. Duke's still only level 5, but he is just a couple minions away from level 6 himself.
Be a ways away on that teleport though, so Tara uses the Stand United and he can't interrupt it. He will not be able to match the arrival with a teleport of his own. Gotta be careful. So far though, very minuscule lead here, basically even. Not gonna see anything really developing for quite a bit of time. And of course, Dragon being the ocean drink is not gonna be that infernal, it's not gonna be that mountain, it's not gonna be nearly as important for either of these teams to pick up early on.
Yeah, nobody really going to be doing a lot of split pushing either here, or, I mean, SK Telecom does have some poke here, so maybe it might be a little bit for CJ, but against a pick composition, you're not really going to have a chance to use that Ocean Drake regeneration as long as the pick comp executes properly.
Maggie coming around the backside, though. Mad Light immediately going to flash out. Kramer's invisible, but they see with the Tremor Sense. Cannot get the pop-up on him, though. They'll just get a bit of damage, cross onto that Twitch, but overall, gank going to be avoided. It's double flash down the bot side, so good roll by Bengi in the end.
Yeah, and that's the danger, right? Now, Bengi tried to use the Chilling Smite onto the Soraka right there and take it. Instead, they will invade, or they will take their own blue buff, rather, and that's the danger of having the Rek'Sai against a Twitch is, like you said, the Tremor Sense is going to be able to sight him out even when he's invisible, so you do get advanced warning as long as the Rek'Sai is there, which makes this composition problematic in late game team fights, because as soon as SKT groups up, there's no longer going to be a mystery about where Kramer is.
Yeah, this is kind of like drafting the Evelynn into a Rek'Sai like we've seen in seasons past. Rek'Sai, you just spot her out, doesn't matter if she's pretty much permanently invisible. You can always know where she is if she's in view of your screen. So like you said, CJ will be very reliant on the execution, and so far they haven't been able to find much of a foothold in this game. CS is pretty even across the lanes, except for that bottom and mid side where Bang and Faker are starting to inch out ahead of their lane opponents.
Just a very passive early game here. SKT slowly chipping away at these turrets through use of the minion waves. There's going to be a flash, though.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be the Emperor's Fight coming out. Faker getting knocked into the tower is actually going to be able to dash to safety.
Wow.
Bit of a botched engage there by Haru. And Faker barely makes it out with his life.
He's going to be breathing pretty hard. He's not done yet either.
Yeah, he's like, I want that cannon minion.
I'm going to poke it. Well, Bengi was there to just zone the members off in case they were to get too aggressive. Faker doesn't have any more potions, though. BDD is going to try and stick around right here.
Yeah, he's using the ultimate, just going to get the rune down onto Bengi and try to get a little bit of damage, just a smattering of it, but it's not going to find too much. So Faker playing really close to danger, actually gets hit by the barrel.
He really wants that CS.
Yeah.
Does manage to pick it up. So a couple flashes used right there for CJ, and they don't actually end up getting that kill, as you said. Wolf now returning with that magical journey. He's going to give Kramer a little stun. Ouch. That poke dealing some damage. And CS lead in the bottom side is growing pretty quickly. Bang once again with a relatively greedy build. Didn't go cold this time, but took the sheen out of the Ezreal build early and instead went straight for the faster stacking on the Manamune.
Yeah. See, that was the first buy coming up for Kramer as well. He stuck around in that bottom side for quite some time, but he only gets the Bilgewater Cutlass to Bang's completed Manamune, and that's going to be pretty rough for him, as you can see that the stacks are just going to continue going upward here for Bang, as is the CS, as he's got 21 CS lead at the moment.
And what we're going to have to turn our sights to now, Achilleos, is the mid game. The mid game is going to be very important because, like I said, this is a comp that demands a lot of execution as a team from CJ Entus. It's not...
Oh wow, Mad Life getting caught up by that Cosmic, finding the Ignite comes across as well, but they're not able to finish him off. The shot barrage goes through, but Mad Life nowhere near that one, keeping himself safe. Still some good pressure here being applied by SKT's bot lane, not putting themselves in a position where Mad Life can get that HP back by throwing out the Starfall.
Yeah, he did have the wish too, just in case worst came to worst, but in any case, yeah, CJ Entus is going to have to actually make some plays here. They need to start getting picks, and they're going to get up the Ocean Break right now. Will make that a little bit harder. They will have fewer opportunities to prey on somebody who is low already with that sustain in the early game phase. So CJ, they've got to start using their double TP. They have to start using the Stand United to make plays. Otherwise, by the time SK Telecom is in the late game and they're able just to stack up around the Dragon or the Baron, they will have very few opportunities to play their composition. And there's not a great way for CJ to get in there. They're engaged. They do have some nice engage with the Gragas and the flash taunts if they want to pull that off.
Oh, looks like they're going to go in for a play in the mid side. BDD though, here comes the Stand United. Emperor's Divide goes out pushing Haru away, but then the flash comes in from Mutara and he connects with the taunt. And they will find the kill. Gragas being the one picking it up. Duke matches with the TP but arrives too late to change the tides of that battle, and CJ come out with a kill.
That was a very greedy play from SK Telecom. You knew the Stand United was up already, and you try to make a fancy play going very deep in the lane when they can still bring that Shen in, and even though the Maokai was able to teleport, just couldn't quite get there fast enough. And the Rek'Sai just not going to be dealing any kind of damage with this build. He did go for the Cinderhulk first in this game instead. So obviously going to help out just a little bit more, but not a whole lot compared to that Sightstone. Still though, a lot of issues, and ultimately an overextension from SK Telecom.
Yeah, so basically just even up the gold off that first blood pick. But you can see the real issue here for CJ is in the bot side, as Bang is just landing Mystic Shot after Mystic Shot onto Kramer, forcing Mad Life to keep dumping his health in onto this rat. He's whittling himself down. Once again, SKT, they're playing around the Soraka so well, making sure they're not getting hit by those Starfalls and allowing Mad Life to regain that HP that he has to expend.
Yeah, just keep on poking constantly. Mad Life very low. He's not going to get hit by that True Shot Barrage this time either.
Barely misses, but Banky's coming around the backside. They could just go for a dive.
And this is one of the problems with Soraka. Very vulnerable to dives. And at least they're going to just give up on this turret.
Yeah. Try to it out of there, but...
And this makes... This turret going down makes their job so much harder. Because now they can ward deep in the lane if you're SK Telecom, deep in the jungle, and they're going to see the pathing that Twitch does before he uses his ambush, get that advanced warning with the help of the wards, so that CJ effectively can't make this. Not to mention they have to walk very far down that lane, which does give counterplay to SK Telecom if they can cut them off after a pick attempt occurs from CJ.
Good moves from SKT off the backside of that overly aggressive play in the mid. making the proper moves to get themselves an advantage here again.
Bengi and Bang just taking a tour through the enemy jungle after forcing the dual lane out, grabbing what they can. Bang does have to change his mind about that pink ward, considering Faker is back underneath the turret, not in a place to help right now. And Shen ult back up again.
We'll have to watch out for that one too. Still a ways away from having that TP available, so if Untara uses the stand United, will not be able to match. He's also got his teleport coming up now in just about 3 seconds, so Untara's going to have a double global advantage over top of this Maokai, so Duke going to have to play really intelligently about when he's going to leave that lane.
And CJ has to make this work. This is the do or die moment for them. If they can't start to make plays, get picks, take objectives afterwards, they're really not going to be able to stick in this game, because every single time beyond that, SKT will simply sit at the dragon, avoid conflict. Oh, here we go.
Being a conflict, Faker taking a hell of a lot of damage. Once again, has to flash away. The Emperor's Divide not doing anything to knock the DD out. And we're right back to him, wanting to stick around and get these minions. This time it's going to be considerably easier for him to do. But still, just the slightest consistency in your positioning, and BDD is just looking to jump on top of it.
Well, BDD also had to use his flash there, so trading flash for flash. But what this does mean is that in the future, Faker is far more gankable against the mass CC that CJ has, including the flash still on Haru. Oh.
Wow. Never fit. Wolf not going to connect. Now Bengi going in, trying to defend this blue buff. Both smites are available. If they fight over, it's going to be Bengi coming out on top.
Definitely going to be happy with taking that away from Faker, though, considering the increased pressure that they can't put on the mid lane, rather, now that the blue buff is gone and unable to be used to continue to push forward in that lane.
Just looking to harass, gets a nice cosmic binding, and Catlife is going to take over half of his HP and damage. So, really good stuff coming out there from Faker to try to chip him down and force him back. Both of these mid lane turrets are going to be about similar HP at this point, I believe. Both are about half. Coming up 35, I don't think we've seen, or at least haven't noticed which Drake it's going to be. Started off with Ocean, so we'll see what's coming up next.
Just a few more seconds until that reveals itself. Kramer's still just sitting on the Blade of the Rune King. He can make individual picks like that, but where Twitch's real power in team fighting comes into play is when he gets that Hurricane also.
Yeah.
Can really just do a hell of a lot of damage with the spray and pray.
But again, we're just seeing this point where Kramer has an item completed, and it's Bang already sitting on his 2 big items for this Ezreal. It's going to be the Mountain Drake. SKT are in prime position to go ahead and start this one up. Aru getting bound up by the Cosmic Binding. We're just going to pull this out and try to put this one away. So barring a steal from Haru, this will be a very powerful Drake for SK Telecom to pick up.
It's going to be an easy take right there. They already had a very fast Baron attempt with the Azir, and now it's going to be even faster. Also...
Oh, Kramer maybe going in for the ambush. Has the ward, but...
Oh my, just nothing. I mean, Bang just easily escaping that situation, and now this siege is going to be very
look
powerful.
At Wolf taking a ton of damage, so has to heal himself up with that W. So, maybe show a little bit more respect to that Rise in the mid side. Almost finds that kill in a 1v3 scenario.
Yeah, but we're looking at these towers, Achilleos, in the mid and the top lane, and the chip damage has been real. This is the result of 18 minutes of pressure and minion waves just constantly taking their toll on the turrets. So CJ needs to start making plays. They're trying to, but they have to exit through the tri-brush. Bengi is there alongside Bang. He's going to tap him. He has gone for the Aegis of the Legion first to mitigate some of that AoE magic damage that Rise is going to be putting out.
Yeah, so not seeing that Sightstone second item coming out for him. Well, actually, it was pretty much his first item because he didn't even finish the Cinder Hulk the first time around. But going for that much more defensive build, as you said. Haru trying to find the engage onto Wolf and Bengi, but just unable to do so. Looks like it's just going to be a group up 4-man mid as they try to finish off this turret. But Faker is just not letting that happen. It's just continually chips down Bad Life.
Yeah, I'm really curious how CJ is going to play some of these team fights, because there is an option here for them to set down the Spirit's Refuge around the Twitch, so you can basically shield him up with the ultimate from Shen, get into the fight, then cause the dodge effect from the Spirit's Refuge. So maybe that will lead to some sort of full channel ultimate, which could be quite devastating, actually.
Could be, certainly.
Again, hard to pull off, though, and that's really the concern, is whether CJ has the teamwork to make this composition work.
Yeah. See, though, 3-man push onto this mid turret. It's already chunked out. Now Drake in tow. Haru trying to go in, but just going to find a truckload of damage. Getting hammered into his face. So the chipping will continue from both sides. Pretty much, except for maybe the bottom and mid, you know, that top turret's standing pretty strong there for SK Telecom. I couldn't tell if he stole that.
Yeah, Faker got the blue.
Okay.
So it was a takeaway there, and they're going to move into the top side right now, right as the Shen recalls, so using this opportunity, and they're just playing around the turrets that are still available in this outer ring. SKT concentrating their pressure in the mid and the top lane at the moment. Bengi gets a vision in. That'll be another easy turret. SK Telecom starting to build a substantial gold lead here.
They can just go for the Baron again right now, honestly, if they wanted to.
Yeah, they probably could.
There's no vision. The recall came through from BDD and Haru. They actually could just take it away, but they're not going to go for it this time. Going for the Bard ultimate, but it's not going to connect on a Kramer, so Flash will be down on that Twitch.
This might be the time for them. They are starting to group up right now. They don't want to put more pressure onto the mid lane. Nope, they're going to try and gank Untara.
Yeah, going in for it. He dashes away already, uses the flash as well, but Duke still connects with that twisted advance. Emperor's Divide for good measure. BDD going to try to come up here with that teleport. Untara is just absolutely getting devastated. BDD shows up, but he's fighting off a little bit more than he can chew. He's going to have to peel back immediately. And with that big front line down inside of CJ, SKT are able to move around the map pretty freely. Looks like Bangy wants to go in on the offensive. Jumps in onto Haru, but with Bang not there as he rotates over to this mid side, they're just going to peel back, pick up some of these more objectives.
Yeah, and that's what you should go for. Just take the turret right now. Don't be particularly concerned. You need to be able to push those minion waves out to safely secure the Baron, because now that they have the mid and the top down, they'll be able to push the waves up, get the deeper wards into the topside jungle, and then retreat back and play a better vision game, where CJ will have to face check, and because of the Rek'Sai and the Tremor Sense, they're not going to be able to scout very easily with the Twitch.
Yep.
And now, also, we saw in that last play that Untara was shoved out of his dodge field by the Emperor's Divide, which is a big threat. And if you need that ability to keep the Twitch safe in the late game, while he just stands there and does a full channel ultimate, you may not find it so easy when Faker is quite capable of pushing you off it, or the Tempered Fate just comes in, you know, whatever.
See the ambush coming out, but they're going to get spotted by that Scrying Orb, so Bang going to keep himself pretty safe. Don't know if he can keep that turret alive, however. Does have the True Shot Barrage to throw out on the wave. He's actually just going to be really aggressive with Haru, but the arrival of BDD means that, never mind, they're just going to back off. I thought maybe they'd go for something, but they're not.
Well, there's a pink ward war right now.
Ward War 1 is happening on our screen. Haru has to throw out the explosive cast. Body slam comes up off cooldown. He will jump out. True Shot Barrage goes through, and Faker arrives. Put in just enough damage to make it find the kill, and he's going to get a consolation prize in Mad Life. No, actually, the flash and heal there from Kramer come out to keep him alive.
Wow.
So much being burned. That's just going to be the Baron turnover here for SK Telecom.
Yeah, that's it. Turn onto the Baron immediately. You already have the Mountain Drake. You certainly have the damage to do this
There's no smite away.
at a very rapid pace.
CJ's going to try to fight this, though. The TP's coming in from Untara. He's zipping his way up. BDD already popping that ultimate, laying down the damage onto Wolf. Catches two, the Tempered Fate. It's going to be SKT peeling off the Baron, but they still go back in for the fight. Absolutely destroy Kramer. He does find one onto Bengi.
They did stop that Baron from going down, but Duke and Bang are still there.
Oh, BDD comes in, does get the root down onto Bang. Huge burst of damage from the Q, and BDD finds the kill. Meanwhile, Duke finishes off Mad Life. All in all, it's going to be a 2 for 2, and CJ do stop the Baron.
Yeah, a little bit delayed response there from Duke onto that Baron. quite get the proper angle in order to hold that fight. Everyone from SK Telecom getting very low, and you can see that they were afraid of entering into this situation. And you see Duke was trying to get from the bottom side of the map, but they were trying to 4v4 in this Baron. If Duke had been there, this is an entirely different fight.
Yeah.
But no Maokai. And he has a very short TP right there also because he realized he messed up and burned his TP to get into this anyway. Cosmic Binding does miss.
God, that damage. Well, that's another champion getting nerfed in 6.11 is Rise.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, longer ultimate cooldown now just stays at 50, I believe, instead of degrading down to 30 seconds. So you won't be able to get those massive resets with your full combo, and then I think his Q also does about 30 less damage. So maybe that'll make him a little bit less appetizing of a pick, but we'll have to see when that patch actually comes out. In the meantime, SK Telecom is showing us the Air Drake. So it will just be air, ocean, and mountain. No infernal coming out this time. Steal not going to happen as Bengi does confirm it. Haru has to flash over the wall there as I think cast to stop any pursuit, but SKT are still hot on their heels. It's going to be the ultimate coming across. Only finds Suntara. Not sure if it's enough for them to want to commit. Tar goes in for the taunt. Finds only Duke. Bengi still hovering around this backside, trying to spot Kramer and stop him from getting an entry. We can see though, Spray Break comes through and it deals a hell of a lot of damage over on the side of Bang and Faker. They might have to back off, and it looks like they're going to.
Perhaps a little bit too much aggression into the enemy jungle from SKT. CJ does respond with a fair amount of damage in kind. And SKT really just wants to focus on poking right now because playing into CJ and running at them gets them in range of the Rise and also threatens a large explosive cast play from Gragas where he can isolate a target.
Yeah.
Also, if the Twitch starts ulting, you're in danger of taking a lot of damage if you're walking into it. So SKT just needs to focus on forcing CJ to walk into them where they have the Tempered Fate, where they can set up with the Maokai. So keep playing around the Baron. That's what there should be their main consideration. That is exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, they know their right position. They're going to stick to it. Tara at the bottom side has to rely on the stand united if he wants to find an entry. Wolf is playing forward, looking to stun up anybody, but not even getting Haru a chance to get nearby. And the Baron goes down so quickly. Now SKT continuing this chase on the Mad Light. Magical Journey comes through. Duke playing forward, gets stunned immediately. Gets locked a little bit there. He's going to go in, finds Kramer. Damage coming across. Wish already used, and it doesn't matter. The Twitch goes down. Faker does collapse under the pressure from this Rise, however, as Duke goes to the back line trying to lock him up. The pop-up comes out from Bengi, and Bang will be able to finish him off. 3 members down, and Tara on the run at Mad Light, near dead. And the hightail it out of here. This could be an inhibitor going down to the mid side. Yeah,
they're definitely just going to power through this. We'll see how much they decide to take. They certainly have some time to work with here. Probably will just take that inhibitor and back off in the end, but that's the kind of fight they wanted. Just go ahead, wait for them to come to you. You have all the tools of your SK Telecom to win with a superior 5v5 with the team composition. There's no need to be running into their jungle, and they make it work. They just roll them up one by one and take out a host of towers in the process.
Yeah, working on this tier 2 on the top side as well. But, Tara there, and the respawns coming through is going to deter them from that objective for the moment. But we can see this is almost a 9,000 gold lead now for SKT.
Wow, putting the win CJ Entus on the screen, huh, Jen? That seems optimistic at this stage. Trolling the audience, that's a new level.
Oh, the poor CJ fans, man. They were so close last split.
Well, I mean, OJ was just giving him for the one time they'll see that this season.
Fair enough. Enjoy this while it's there.
We take this again. I mean, Kramer just gets caught out immediately. The Maokai does so much work, changed right into the knockup. Bang with the finisher on the outside, making sure that they can actually pick up the kill onto the AD carry. BDD just isn't going to do work. He's not going to do any damage to the Maokai or the Rek'Sai at the moment. And then they just chase it all the way down the lane. No need to kill Antara. We can just go for the inhibitor instead.
Yeah. And this composition is looking a little bit rough here for CJ. He just felt like using it. Not able to find the execution necessary. I mean, we haven't even seen a single quote submarine play coming out from these guys with the Twitch. Kramer just hasn't been able to get in a position to even try to blow up Faker or Bang.
And now this Rather irresistible push occurring from SKT. They're doing the right thing alongside Bengi, just pushing him off the turret. They've got to go deal with that super minion push in the mid lane eventually. A very effective Baron buff from SK Telecom, just taking so many towers off that one buff.
Yeah, the super groups are pushing it on the mid side as well, just creating that much more pressure here for CJ to deal with. You can see that they're just crumbling underneath it as the second inhibitor does go down. See how long SKT wants to stick around and hope for. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and heal back. It's going to be a Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. These guys are just going to play the safe game as they move over to this top tier 2.
Just take the last outer or inner turret rather remaining on this map. Why not? Bang will grab a red buff in the process. Dot your I's, cross your T's. In a macro sense, go ahead and take every advantage that we can. Even though the Baron buff's out right now, CJ has their hands full elsewhere on the map.
I mean, they still have Mountain Drake, so what more do you need when it comes to taking structures?
They really should go back right now. There's not, they have so much gold that in their pockets that hasn't been turned into items that this is actually a fight they might lose.
Oh, well, they get Faker. Nice bar ultimate comes out, saving 2 members, but he's going to have to flash out to the backside immediately. Bengi goes in pretty deep and is taking a lot of damage from this turret. Duke goes in, locks up with Tara, but he's still a very tanky Shen. They try to whittle him down. Looks like Bang might have the damage. Wolf is going to find the kill credit with the rest of the team in tow. And now the super creep wave pushing in on the mid side. The tanky front line from CJ gone. They're just going to win the game here at 30.5 minutes.
Wow. So they have all of this unspent gold, but they're still able to take that team by playing aggressively on the dive, and they keep on going.
Yeah, Bengi will go down. Kramer finds the kill, and Faker's low as well. They might not be able to finish here.
All right, it was a bridge too far in the end.
Yeah.
Couldn't actually finish the game. They should go back and spend this money. There is no reason to continue on with this fight. You have 2 inhibitors down. They're down to 1 Nexus turret. Play the safe game, spend your money so you have more of an advantage, because regardless of how far behind CJ is, they still have this Rise and this Twitch who are going to be doing work if you give them a chance to kite you underneath the turret.
Yeah. You can see though on the way out, Bang and Wolf is going to rotate over and take their second Ocean Drake, so 4th straight Dragon, and I mean, I don't even think we're really going to hit a point where we see that Elder Drake, Monty.
We're not. We're not Achilleos. It's going to be over well before that. 2 minutes until the next Baron, if it's even necessary right now. But CJ, again, they showed that they really can't operate these compositions properly. And SK Telecom, they did what they should have done, which was get the early chip damage down onto the turrets. Use their laning advantages to turn them into objectives in the outer ring of turrets, and then control vision and play the Baron game from there, which is what they should have done. CJ never really had an opportunity to set up picks, but I think that what's more damning about this situation is that they didn't even really try. The kill they got in the mid lane onto Faker for First Blood was a reactive play based on what Faker was doing. We see very few proactive early game moves from CJ Entus, and you have to, if you're going to play this Shen double TP Twitch team composition, you have to make plays in the mid game. That is your playground. That is where you are the strongest.
So back to the drawing board for CJ after this game, it seems. Whether or not that includes some roster swaps the next time we see them, we have to wait and find out, because right now it doesn't look like this one's working out so well for them. Maybe time to give Ghost a try on the AD carry role.
I mean, it's hard to say that because Kramer is very good mechanically, but there's something about his play that just seems to slow down the game, and he's not the guy I would put on a Twitch. The guy who wants to make those mid-game plays is not Kramer.
Yeah. See, though, they're going to go for the submarine play here, but Man United's just going to get a full channel, and they can't find a way in for the taunt, so it's hard. Just backing off after taking some chip damage. Haru as well, whittled down to about half HP. Faker with this Azir is doing so much work. It's going to be the inhibitor going down to the top side. They'll rotate over, finish off the mid yet again.
And this is what I mean. That Stand United did absolutely nothing. CJ plays so scared. You're almost certainly going to lose this game if you're CJ. So if you want to dedicate that Stand United, do something with it. Go for the Hail Mary. But instead, they just waste an ability for no reason, back off, and play petrified in their own face.
They don't really play to the name of that ultimate at all.
Yeah.
They're pretty much scattered. These guys, you know, CJ right now looks like a team that was put together through the new autofill system in solo queue, where, you know, Haru actually wanted to play top lane and Tara wanted to be support. They're like, oh, well, I guess I'm stuck doing this instead.
I can't argue with you there, Achilles. Duke gonna come in with a TP.
Oh, yeah, really aggressive TP straight onto BDD. He's taking a bit of damage to the rest of the team. Now arriving, Finger goes in. Not able to find too much. Duke's actually gonna flash straight onto Kramer's face. They hit him with the Bard ultimate. They lock him up, pop him up in the air, and it looks like the Twitch is gonna die once more. The heals come out from Soraka, barely keeping him alive. Mad Life just pumping everything out that he possibly can, but it's not enough in the end. Bengi finding the kill. They're gonna find another one as Haru goes down. The last vestiges of CJ's base are going to crumble under the immense amount of pressure that SK Telecom has been putting down since the first second of this game. This is going to be an ace to finish things off, and at 35 minutes, Nexus will be falling, and SK Telecom come back into the summer split with a bang, and they finish out a 2-0 over CJ Entus.
That's right, they come back not only with a bang, but with a Bengi, Achilles, as he reclaims his title, at least for this week on the starting roster, playing a couple of games of Rek'Sai and making it work for his team. And now CJ still struggling, yet to win a game this season in their 2 best of 3s. SK Telecom with a clean sweep in their first.
Really strong game here. Bengi looking back to form here. Rough game in the in the first one. Smite not really there, and pathing kind of wonky, but overall, Bengi with the meta swinging back the way that it is, at least in this Rek'Sai back into the meta. It's looking like we might be seeing more of him, and I mean, this could just be a situation like we see there we go. Lost audio for a second. I was going to say this could be a situation that we see with AHQ where they swap out their mid laners depending on the side, get that side advantage, and then you can swap Blank and Bengi in freely depending on the game that you're playing. But you see right there, the damage to champions from Bang is absolutely through the roof, getting about 36,000 damage that time around.
1,000 DPM, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too shabby for an Ezreal.
Right up there with Crown.
Well,
but yeah, CJ looking kind of dejected here, and you can't really blame him. A 0-4 start for the summer split, not a good way.
We expected so much for these guys once BDD turned 17.
I mean, especially after that 6-match win streak that they had in the spring split during round 2. It was looking so promising, and like they actually could have made it to playoffs, but
this is not their meta, Achilles. Yeah. This is not their meta.
Might not even be their game. You see your MVP is, of course, a Bang, who played one hell of an Ezreal, as he always does. 92% kill contribution rating, 6-1-7. So he will net himself his first bit of MVP points coming in.
And he absolutely